Hey, what's shaking YouTube? Sig Shooter here, going to do a review on some popular compact or super compact carries. And so let's just dive right in. What do we have here? We've got the Ruger LCP, and that's a 380 caliber. We've got the Sig P238, that's a 380 caliber. We've got the Sig 938 in 9mm, and we've got the Beretta Nano in 9mm. Um, Overall cost, Ruger's and the LCP runs between, let's just say, depending where you get it, $350 to $400. The 6 hour is about 620, 630 on average. I mean, depending on which versions you get. P938, the Nightmare, runs a little under, right around $700. And the Beretta Nano is about 415, 420, 430, depending on where you buy them. Right up front, these two are polymer, and these two are all metal. The magazines, LCP comes in 6 and 6. If you buy one, they give you two different plates. Let me show you a comparison of those. They give you two different plates. One has a little, like a pinky rest, or it's flat. So when you buy the magazine, you get two of these. Now that means it doesn't. A lot of magazines have a pinky rest that add an extra round in there. So this one does not. There's 6. 238 and both 938 come standard with a 6. Give it a low profile, and you get one of the extra pinky extension, such as that. Get my camera to zoom in on that there. There we go. That gives it a 7. So your pinky actually rests right here on the front. And then the Nano. Both of these comes with a low profile 6. And this one's a little beefier. It's not as pretty as the other ones, but the larger one carries 7. So let's dive into it. And so this is not going to be one of those reviews where this was better than this one, or blah 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 blah, because all of them are actually good. But for you guys out there that may be deciding on one, let me give you what my thoughts on are of them. Because guess what? I own all of them, and I like them all for different reasons. There's some things I don't like them about others. So let's just get at it, man. Let's start off with the Ruger. We'll just go the 380 class and the 9mm class. The Ruger. This is a really good firearm in terms of overall quality. Now, it does not compare with the SIGs at all. The SIGs are far and above engineering and machining much better firearms. But what does that mean? If you go down to your local range, ask the guys that work at the range that lease or rent the weapons. This is what I did, and say, hey, what works, what doesn't work, what jams, what is popular, what lasts a long time. And the one thing that they told me, which makes sense, is of all the weapons we rent, the ones that are all made of steel or metal or aluminum seem to last longer over the rental abuse compared to any of the polymer frames. That includes Glocks, Berettas, Rugers, Sigs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the manufacturer. It's the polymer frames just don't wear as well as the all steel frame. So these two Sigs are, I believe they're aluminum, but stainless steel slide and aluminum frame are, all metal. So what does that mean to you and I? Let me just kind of get a closer look so you guys can get a better see of some of these things. And all of these have been safety checked, and the magazines are empty. Well, if you're doing a concealed carry and you're going down to the range, every so often, once a week, once a month, whatever like that, then for you it's probably a don't care. This isn't like a service weapon you're going to be using at like a police officer or somebody like that. So, you know, who cares? If you shoot 1,000 or 2,000 rounds through it per year, it's going to be just fine. You know, but after 4 or 5 years, guess what? Well, your all metal frames will probably last longer. So that's one thing to consider. But what we're talking about is concealed carry. So of all four of them, this LCP is the easiest. And let me work my little camera here. I'm going to try to get a zoom in. So I'll go across it and try to go up here. It is small. It is lightweight, and it almost feels like a little cheap toy gun. I mean, it really does. I mean, it's you know, I'm not going to go out here and do scales and stuff like this. You just got to go feel them for yourself. But it's very, very light. And I mean, it's just you know, feels like a play gun. With the magazines, one thing I've noticed is even if this is back and this is your there's a button right here that you use to lock it, and this is your takedown pin. You pull it back a little bit and just pull that out, and you can break it down. It's fairly easy to break down. But even if the slide is back or not, to put in the magazine, you actually just pop it in just like that. Pretty simple. Very light, easy to throw into a shirt pocket, pant pocket. They come with tons of different cases for this. This is a very popular firearm, and would serve well as a concealed carry. And you know, I've been shooting these a good while, and let me tell you something. Anybody that says 380 isn't a good concealed carry, you know, does not know what they're talking about. They've been reading too much, and you know, I've got 45s and 40s and 9mm, and you know, within 10 yards, you know, this is going to put a hurting on anybody. You know, one of the things I've told folks is go to YouTube, look up Clerk Shoots Robber, and watch a bunch of videos on it, and you'll see what happens. Nobody goes down. When they get hit or shot at, they take off running. This is not the movies. This is the real world. Watch those videos, and you'll see what's really going on out there. You know, as a majority. But fits well in the hand. Good pushback right here. Has a good overall lightweight feel. Very, very thin. You know, if I compare that to the 238, you can see the 238 is just a little bigger. If I bring obviously the Nano up, you know, the Nano is a lot thicker. We'll get to that in a second, but this is a good pistol. I think women will really enjoy this because it seems what I've found out that women seem to like the 380s a lot because they're more manageable, especially if you're a smaller woman. It's manageable. The other thing about it is compared to the SIGs is, you know, this one's got a safety on this side, and the nines have it on both. But you know, you've got these hammers. You know, you've got these sights that are, you know, sticking up. You've got the cocked and locked hammer on the back. And if you want to learn about this, I did do a video on is it cocked and locked. Go check that out if that interests you. But for a woman, if this is in your purse and you're pulling it out, you know, there is a potential of these little things snagging on stuff that you would have in your purse. And for men, it would be, you know, depending on how your holster is or how you're carrying it, you know, the same issue. If you just had this in a pocket, you know, it could snag. You know, that chance does happen. Where this LCP, and the same goes to the Nano, you know, they're pretty streamlined. You know, nothing really to grab a hold of and grab onto. So that is definitely a pro for this little Ruger. Lightweight, the smallest of the lot, and just good shooter. Let's see, the 238, 938, they're almost identical. you know, I've already done a review on one of these, so I'm not going to go into too much detail as much here. But you know, both of these, they're just probably one of the best made guns. And this one's modeled after the 1911, and you know, it's just a good overall pistol to have that just does great. It has a safety here. You carry it in the cocked and lock. And I'm going to get into the actions here in a bit on all of them. But the 938, very same. This one has the Hogue grips. You've got safeties on both sides. I did do a polishing on this barrel to kind of give it a, you know, a look that I liked. You know, something a little to set it off. This is the Nightmare version. You know, I have bigger hands, so the grips kind of help me a bit. And I did another video about I had a hard time shooting this one accurately, but one of the things I talked about was putting your finger up high when you pull the trigger, and that seemed to really make a big difference. The Nano, once again, I do not understand, at least in my opinion, why Beretta, who's one of the oldest manufacturing of guns or firearms, is just not getting as much press as the LCPs and some of the Sigs and Glocks and stuff like this. But this Nano, I mean, the look, love it or hate it, classic Italian. You know, it's either fast or you don't like it at all. But let's take a look. See, I put some little white inlays just to kind of pretty it up. Let me zoom in so that you guys can get a really good look at this guy. This little screw here, you just turn it. You can use the end of a ACP shell and just twist it. It's really easy to turn, and that's how you break it down so there's no slide latches. This thing is pretty awesome. I mean, it shoots really smooth, and I've noticed that with a lot of the Berettas. I've got the PX Storm as well, and it shoots great. Its safety is built into the trigger. And once again, like the Ruger, you know, there's nothing for it to really catch on. Now it's a little larger, so I can almost lay that Ruger on top of that, and you can kind of see a size difference, you know. But the thing about it is, you see, it's not a whole lot. You know, it's not a really big difference. But when you look at it just like that, it looks almost like it's huge, and that's the one thing about this firearm. It looks bigger than what it is, and I think it's just because of the way this stack up looks. It looks top heavy. So, but there is one thing about this that I noticed right off the bat. If you go down and pick one up and feel it without a magazine in it, and you grab it like this, and you just kind of get a feel, it feels real top heavy. It feels really top heavy, and my Storm, it's not as extreme as this, but it felt that way as well. And it kind of threw me off for a second. I said, man, that feels really just odd. Until you put a magazine in it. And the very second you put a magazine in it, it's balanced. And guess what? Who's going to carry a firearm without a magazine full of bullets in it? And I don't know of anybody. But as soon as you put that weight in there, this is where this thing balances out just right, and it feels good. Feels really good. So for you folks that may not be familiar with a lot of these, the key differences, and I'm gonna put them like this so that you can, and I'll put a magazine in all of them so that you get a feel for it. I'll put the extended mags in the SIGs, and I'll try both of them on the Nano. This is what the Nano looks like with the normal magazine that holds 6. So if I put my hand right there, these 3 fit about like that, and it's got a good feel to it. And then you can put the extended magazine on it, and then your hand just grips the entire firearm like that. So So you guys, so let's see. So you guys are saying, hey, I like all these. What's the pros and cons to them all, and what would you use? Both of these are single action. So what that means is, let's talk about concealed carry, defensive situation. So when you carry these firearms, and I've done a video of the many ways you could carry them, and I'll use this 938 as example. Is you put a magazine in, you rack the slide to put one in the chamber, and then you push the safety right here up. The weapon won't fire, at all with the safety on, and that's how you carry it. And then if you need to draw the weapon, you need to drop the safety, and the firearm's ready to go. And you just need to practice doing that. That becomes a second nature form for you. And when you're in the range or out shooting, have it down in the safe position, and then drop the safety, aim at your target, shoot a couple shells, stop, put it back on safety, do it again. It just make it second nature like anything else. And that's how you carry these. So the one thing about the single action is the trigger pull is very, very short. It's just a barely of a pull, and that's how you fire it. So you could also, at the same time, let me put this down. You could also carry it like this, with one in the chamber, a full magazine, and pull the hammer back, and fire the weapon that way by leaving it off safety. Of course, you could, and fire it that way. So both of these are single action. So the pros are very short trigger, very easy to shoot, but the con is you need to have them on safety. Now both of these, the Nano and the Ruger, are double action only. And what that means is I will once again check to make sure that we have a empty magazine. Is this trigger pull, and I'll do it from this angle, is very long, and you'll hear the click here as I pull it back. So this goes all the way back, and that's when you fire it, and then it resets, and then of course the slide would slide back, and it's a very long throw. The Ruger is the same way. It once again, safety check. Never can be too safe. Very, very empty. Is you pull that trigger back. It's a longer throw. Okay, so to all of us guys trying to figure this out, what the heck does this mean? Well, these don't have safeties. These don't have a manual safety. The only way that you can fire it is pulling the trigger. So the hammer mechanism, which they call striker fire, is buried inside of here, and as you're pulling the trigger back, you're loading up the like, let's just say, internal hammer to pull back and fire. And because this is such a long throw, if you have this in a basic holster or a pocket carry that covers this trigger, it's really safe. Both of these are very well. They're all safe, depending on the modes that you use them. So that's a good thing. What that also means is you don't have to take it off safety. So if you're pulling this thing out in a defensive situation and you draw on it, it's ready to fire. Same with the Nano. The Nano is ready to fire. You pull it out and you pull the trigger. There you go. The Sigs and some similar guns that have the hammers back here that are single action, you have to take it off safety. Very dangerous to carry it with a hammer back and not on safety. And so you think, well, what about these? These don't have safeties. Well, the trigger pulls on single actions are very, very short, which means when you're off safety, there's more of a culpability to discharge the firearm when you don't mean to. Where these, there's just really no way. You have to pull that trigger all the way back and then release it and pull it all the way back. So, you know, that's where it becomes into preference. And if you're at the range, if you're trying to shoot accurately, well, guess what? You're going to do better with a single action. If you're trying to get a tight pattern at 3, 5, 7 yards, 10 yards, or something like that, the single actions are going to do much better for you because it's a short pull. And when I say better for you, I mean for folks that are newer to firearms, not somebody who's been shooting the same firearm forever, but because you're going to get used to something. You know, what do they say? The most dangerous person is a person with one firearm, because guess what? They're used to it. But so that's what the difference is. So what I'd suggest is, you know, if you like any of these firearms, go try them, shoot them, and see what works for you. That's what I did. You know, I started off with the SIGs. I really enjoy the SIGs. I think the quality, you know, they're a lot more expensive. They really really are. They're, you know, $200 or $300 more than these. But their quality of construction is wonderful. You know, you got the glowing, the night sights, and all this stuff. But for concealed carry, all of them would work well. But like I said, you know, watch out for things. You know, if you know, would this snag or not? You know, men probably not so much. They're going to carry it in a pocket holster or inside the waistband holster, and we practice enough on that. I hate to talk about men in third person, sorry, but you know, these definitely are streamlined. So let's see, anything else? What other questions may pop up? Reliability. Of course, in another video I talked about the 938 where I was having some frustrations with it, and this is one I did send back, but they all shoot well. The Beretta just, you know, for some reason Berettas just seem smooth. They're glassy. This is why I stress to everybody, go try Beretta. You know, even an old 92 FS. I mean, they're just really, that's why the military had them and police carried them for so long. They're really fantastic firearms. You know, somebody looks at them and says, well, they're older. No, talk about older. Well, you know, you want to get an older weapon, you know, throw this one in the mix. But, you know, let's talk about this, you know, 1935 Beretta with 32 caliber. I mean, talk about breakdown. I mean, check this out. I mean, if you guys haven't seen one of these, is pull this guy back, and you just take your finger and you just lift the barrel right out. No, you don't have to pull the slide off. Yeah, I mean, how simple does that get? You know, there you go. Take, of course you can't see it. Take the barrel, drop it right on in, ready to fire. This pistol was made in 1956, and man, is it a beauty. Exposed barrel on the top, you see, classic iron sights. And I'm going to do a video on this at some other time, but you know, just because and like I said, I'm not talking about you old schoolers, it's been around a long time, but you know, this thing is awesome. It's heavy, boy. It's carbon steel. I mean, it's got some weight to it. It's way above the weight of all these other ones, but boy, it just feels good. It's fun to shoot. And found this old military style magazine case for it. So like I said, you know, Beretta's been around a long time, and they are really just kick butt firearms. And this is not saying anything about all the others. It's just when I started doing my research, these are the ones I heard about, and you know, I knew Beretta was there, but it wasn't getting, quote, the press that all the others were getting. So I'm not really overly promoting this. I'm just saying, go take a time to look at it. You know, here in Texas, I mean, everybody's buying firearms like crazy, and you can't really get, almost, if you wanted a gun, you know, you're lucky to find it. But I go to these stores, and sure enough, here are these Berettas sitting there. I'm like, well, why aren't anybody buying these? And, and I talk to these guys, says, I don't know. He doesn't know. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're just, go check them out, man. They're really, they're really very smooth. But so anyway, if I had to wrap this up, which is what I'm going to do, is, you say, hey, Sig Shooter, what would you carry? Uh, Tough. I think it'd be like chicken and beef. What do I want to eat on Monday versus Wednesday? I think I would carry this guy a lot because it's so easy to carry. I mean, there's tiny little holsters that you can just put in your back pocket and no big deal. Not this Nano's a little bit larger. Let me move this one out of the way and put some comparisons to the nines. Is I right now I'm kind of liking the Nano a little bit. And I'll put the this guy on top of it. Let's get a good shot of that one. So this is the Sig sitting on top of the Nano. Now I'll reverse it, kind of get a good feel, see where this is looking. The Nano sit on top of the Sig. So that really didn't show you much, did it? So let's get something like this. Let's look at some widths. Let me get the sights up like that. So, like I said, the Nano looks bigger, but it's really not. Look at that height right there. This is the Nano right here. This is the Sig 238 right there. I'll try to get the sights up high, but there's not a big difference there. Let's kind of compare widths. It almost looks as from here. I haven't done a physical measurement on it, but it almost looks like the Sig is almost thicker. That's what I was saying is when you lay them on top of each other like that, this Nano just looks bigger, but it's really not. This area here looks really huge and fat, but not really. I think it's because like this line right here is higher, and it gives an optical illusion where you've got this line right here and you got all this space right here before the trigger, and it makes it look like it's really thick and tall, but it really isn't. It's an optical illusion. So, but anyway, I don't know if this is helpful for you guys, or send me some updates or links if there's something you want me to break it down into. I'm not going into breaking these down. I think there's a lot of videos up there that are already there that show that, so it would just make this video tons longer. But anyway, this is my review for them. If you have any questions, feel free to send them to me and I'll try to answer them. See you later. Have fun shooting.